So here with one of the other third of Hollywood's most famous men contingent, me, you, and obviously Jamie Dornan.
Yep.
I like to make the joke to my family that I'm the most famous guy in Hollywood and do a bit of stand-up material about it. And my uncle, we were having like Sunday dinner last week, and he was like, "Yeah, they're going to do a statue of Rory in the town centre at some point." And he was talking about discussions about that, and I was like, "You know, I'm sitting here. Like, what's wrong with my statue?" You're back for just the weekend, pretty much like a long weekend here.
Yeah.
You were in Bermuda last night.
Yeah.
How often, roughly, do you get back properly home?
I probably get home to Hollywood 6 to 8 weeks a year, something like that.
And do you sort of have to push that? Like, do you have to find time to come back?
Yeah, I do have to find. I love coming back, and you know, I'm a real home bird, and I really like coming back. So anytime that I can, and there's a possibility to get home for a little bit, I'll try to. So yeah, I mean, always remember where I'm from. All my friends and family are still here, so I want to get back as much as I can.
Is there like a ritual you have almost when you come home? Is there certain things you do? Or is just being in the place like pretty much enough?
Yeah, I think just being in the place and being where you grew up is something that's very important to me, just because travel all over the world, and sometimes you feel like a bit of a nomad and you're sort of here and you're there and you don't really have a sense of home, but whenever you come back, that sort of hits you. So it's just catching up with people and just making time for friends and family, as I say, and yeah, that's really it.
You've been living in America as well, like splitting time between here and there. Do you think you'll ever get a feeling of home? Not like home, but are you getting more of a sense of home there as well, like being relaxed and stuff?
Yeah, I definitely think over the past couple of years, being in Florida and getting back there, at least it gives you a chance to, you know, feel like you're sleeping in your own bed a little bit instead of going to hotel to hotel. So in a way, it feels like my home when I'm over there. But you know, nothing can replace the feeling that you get whenever you actually come back to where you grew up.
Yeah. Speaking of like growing up, I remember like you would live just outside White City down there, which is like a council estate, and I would live just outside as well, but the top direction.
Yeah.
So you would have played in there as a kid, and we're sort of similar in age. And I just remember playing football up the back field, and just even at a really young age, just knowing you as like the kid who played golf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, even doing things like playing football, like I know you play indoor football sometimes, the odd time now when you can.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you missed out on stuff, or would you have not had it any other way, pretty much?
I don't feel like I missed out on like any sort of childhood, or I don't feel like I grew up any differently than anyone else. Okay, I was good at golf and I spent most of my time at the golf club and was playing, but it was only because I wanted to. And you know, I made a lot of great friends at the golf club who I'm really close with today still. So you know, I don't think I missed out on much. I mean, my parents weren't too keen on me playing other sports when I got to a certain age, but apart from that, I feel like I had a relatively, you know, normal upbringing. And
what about school? Like, what was the reaction like in school whenever, because you were winning junior tournaments and things like that when you were in school, so was the reaction positive there, or was there...
It was positive. I don't think a lot of people really knew. Obviously, the teachers knew I was away playing because I'd spent so much time away from school, and my mum and dad become really close with the principal just had to write letters back and forth explaining why I wasn't
20 quid in the top pocket is what you said.
Yeah, no, but you know, just explaining why I wasn't at school or what I was doing. So they were actually very understanding, but you know, the rest of the kids and stuff didn't really care too much. I mean, it was at that age, you know, you're just always away again to play golf. That was really it.
You're a big Man United fan, and you got to parade the Claret Jug around Old Trafford before a game. Is there something you've done like that that's just, what's felt the most surreal whenever you can not just win a tournament, but then you're a Man United fan, go and do that? Is there anything like that you've done that's just completely knocked you for six?
Yeah, that was one of them. Going to United and standing on the pitch and, you know, getting a standing ovation from 75,000 people was something that was pretty cool. I think the other thing was going to the White House and meeting President Obama, but meeting so many other of the dignitaries that were there. Ended up having dinner with Damian Lewis from Homeland.
Right.
So that's something. I was just sitting in a room and like I could name drop all day about, you know, who was there and stuff, but it was so surreal sitting in the White House having dinner, and you're just like, this is
I think
can't believe this is my life.
I think if Damien Lewis from Homeland was having dinner with me in the White House, because I watch Homeland, I'd still be on edge.
Yeah.
People disassociate him from his character. I'd still be a wee bit sort of under the collar.
I know, let's see your inside pocket there.
Quite a bit in the press recently about the charity work that you're doing, and I know the donation you made to the Respite Centre in Newcastle.
Yeah.
I remember we briefly met at Christmas this year in a bar in Hollywood after having played a bit of football, and you must have just come from there.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that at the time, because I remember chatting to you there. I saw the footage of you being up there and put two and two together and thought that night he must have been there.
I was still in the same clothes, that's why.
Yeah, that's how I put it together. The sort of buzz and the feeling of being able to give £1 million to charity, how does that compare to the buzz of, say, winning a tournament, or what feeling do you get from doing that?
It's very different. I guess when I went to open the Daisy Lodge last week, and I'd been down there before at on Christmas Eve, and being able to help in that sort of way is way more gratifying than winning a tournament yourself and receiving that money. But obviously there's a huge thrill in winning a tournament and being successful in that, and I guess I'm very lucky at this point that it's not really about the money anymore. It's about winning and trying to create some sort of history or legacy from my career in golf. So to be able to put something back into the community, and something as great as the Daisy Lodge, and helping kids and families with that are struggling with cancer every day of their lives, it's very fulfilling in a way, and it's hard to really describe, because it is, you see the kids and you interact with them and they're so positive, and that actually, you get something from that as well. And so the big thing for me is how much it puts life in perspective for me, and it makes me feel, so lucky to do what I do. So the money's irrelevant, but it is great to be able to give that amount and be able to help in such a big way. So that's one of the great parts about doing what I do and being successful, is that you're able to help others.
Something else I was keen to chat to you about is social media. So you're very active on Twitter, there is a Facebook page, website, things like that. Trolling is something that's become more in the spotlight recently, people giving abuse essentially to celebrities, well-known figures and stuff like that. Do you spend time looking at that? I mean, not a lot of time, but do you find yourself searching your name, for example?
I'll go, if I send out a tweet, for example, Northern Ireland just had a great result in Greece a couple of nights ago, and I sent out a tweet saying, great result for Northern Ireland, 3 out of 3, let's go to the European Championships or whatever. And I got a lot of grief from people saying, why didn't you mention the result with the Republic? And then, in a way I understood, but in another way I'm like, well, I'm from Northern Ireland, that's the team that I support. So I guess if you tweet certain things, you go down the mentions, and especially if you tweet something about Northern Ireland, because you want to see what everyone else is saying about them too. So, but I don't spend much time looking through the mentions, but it is what it is. It comes with with being a well-known person. People are going to like you, people are going to dislike you. Is
it something that over time you've got a thicker skin about? Like when that stuff like that first started, did it affect you a bit more, and now, or does that ever change? Yeah,
I mean, I was definitely more reactive back maybe 2 or 3 years ago. If someone said something, I'd maybe have a pop back at them on Twitter or something, and I just realised, no, that's not the right way to go about it, because you're just fueling the fire again. So if I see, so of course you've thick skin, you see it every day, it's not like I'm immune to it, so it's fine, it is what it is. And for the maybe 5% of negative stuff on there, there's 95% positive. So what's, on that same sort of subject, what's the oddest rumour you've ever, like either funniest or just plain oddest rumour you've heard about yourself, something you've read in the papers or whatever? Is there anything that's just there's been a bizarre few. I mean, there's a few bizarre ones. It was rumoured a couple of years ago I've bought a Bugatti. Right. That was don't think I'd ever spend £1 million on a car. I'd rather give it to charity. There was a rumour going about that my parents had got divorced and stuff like that, which really is that's more than of course, that's really, which, I mean, my mum and dad are the best couple in the world. I mean, if I was ever to get married one day, I'd love to have a marriage the way they do. I mean, they're just, they're perfect for each other. So just stuff like that that's so untrue, but so annoying. You're like,
you don't want to appear defensive and lash out at that as well.
Well, you sort of do. I mean, the newspaper that made that allegation, I made them write an apology the next week just to say like it was so wrong. So there's certain things that you have to stand up for, and rumors about your family that just are completely untrue is one of them.
Yeah. You're a busy man. I've got you on a day today where you've got a bit of time just to sort of show how busy you are. Like, for example, what does next week hold for you? Like,
well, I have to go down to Dublin over the next couple of days and do a few things, and then I head to Dubai on Monday, and I'm in Dubai for 6 days for a bit of a training week, practice week, and then I'm scheduled to play 2 events in China. Right. So 2 weeks in China, and then back to Dubai for another 2 weeks, so another week of sort of practice, and then the last event on the European Tour. And then from there I go to Australia, play the Australian Open, and then from Australia I fly back through the States, have to go to Oregon for 2 days, New York for 3 days, Philadelphia for 2 days, and that gets us up to the 7th of December. So it's life's become a lot busier over the past couple of years.
And final question, if you could go like incognito for a day, like I've seen just from being in your company for half an hour one night in a small town like Hollywood, the amount of people who get photos with you and stuff like that and just want to say well done.
Yeah.
If you could go incognito for a day, just be completely anonymous, is there anything you would do? Like, is there anything you think I'd love to be able to just go and do that? And if, like, what would it be?
You know what I'd love to do? I'd love to go to a golf tournament and stand outside the ropes like all the spectators and shout abuse at the players like they all do to us. I'd love to do that.
Get the flash on.
Yeah, get the flash on. It's not even, I don't care about the pictures, but I mean, some of the stuff that's shouted at you it's funny, but at the same time, you're like, just.
What's the best thing is there anything that's just made you laugh to the point where you just had to take a minute?
Oh, there's been so many different things. I had this one guy at the US Open a few years ago there was a rain delay and it was in New York, so they'd all got on it during the day. So we came back out at like 5 o'clock and everyone's absolutely hammered. And there's a guy shouting and roaring, going, yeah, Rory, go, go. And all of a sudden, throws up, goes away like a couple of yards, throws up, and comes back, starts roaring again. So, I mean, it's just some of the stuff. But it's, something like that. Just do something normal like that no one, a guy like that, it'll never be talked about. Or if, I was doing something like that, it would get obviously huge coverage. So just normal stuff like that, and just being able to go out with your mates on a night out and not care about who's watching you or who's that sort of stuff I'd like to do, but I don't know, maybe one day. I
have a friend who's near sure it was St Andrews he was spectating at, and Graham McDowell was playing, and him and his mates just followed Graham about for the day, and they said at one stage Graham McDowell had a protein shaker, it was one of the mini ones, and he was just shaking it up. One of the lads, and it's not funny as such, but one of the lads shouted, "Aye, good one, Graham." And he said McDowell was just fuming. It must have been a build-up.
Of course, definitely.
But so if you could do something for one day, it would be just go as a fan.
Just go as a fan and just be on the other side.
Rory McIlroy, thanks very much for your time.
No worries, thank you. Cheers.